I come from the planet of having an architectural practice that for 20 years catered to the very privileged in Miami. And I did that because, I've had a love. Oh, okay. I had a love for architecture, a curiosity for architecture. I had this desire to be of service. I was always enchanted by the possibility of intervening in a space and making it better. And it took me on this path for many years. And how I came to be a regenerative practitioner, which is what I'm practicing now, it's the story that I prepared to share with you. And it's about how to infuse regenerative thinking into the design fields. And I have this prepared for you, but in keeping with regenerative thinking, I instead would like to go through these slides very quickly, and then I will be happy to tell you more of the story in person. But we regenerative practitioners are always looking for potential and looking at opportunities that present themselves. And it's not so much about what we plan or what we learn in school, but it's about how you harness the potential of each situation that you happen to be privileged to be a part of, like this one. So I thought that I would go through my story very quickly so that I can have 15 minutes at least at the end to do a little sort of regenerative workshop for this community, for our beloved Yoko and Yoko's leader, Liran, because I think we're all aware and we all value the fact that we've stumbled upon something very special. So anyways, so I'm a mother and an architect for decades, and those two gifts really gave me extraordinary skills in the fields of unconditional love and motherly love, and in the field of design, which is amazing, an amazing practice to learn to surrender to the unknown. Okay, so I shared all the reasons why I pursued a career in architecture. So I had these two bugs, okay, especially because I was being of service in a world of extraordinary abundance, and at the end it was like excess that I was just kind of being a little bit bothered by. So there were these two bugs that didn't let me continue to thrive in that world. Well, actually there were three. One was this kind of sensitivity that I had for sustainability and sustainable practices. And the other one was that I really felt like there was a lot of pain in the world, and that somehow I was living in this bubble of beauty, and I wanted to be of service to all those in need in the world. And the third one was that I was living with a lot of pain, okay, physical pain. So I went on this journey of sustainability. I was responsible for doing, I don't know if you're familiar with Leadership for Energy and Environmental Design. So I was responsible for the first LEED house in Miami, which is that one there on the left. And I kept looking at that house, is this really sustainable? And then every other project that I got, I would really try to put cisterns and to do, solar. And then I would look at then I eventually came to realize that there was an oxymoron between the kind of projects that I was being of service to and sustainability. And so I went on this path to try to do projects to bridge design with the needs of the world. And this is the presentation that I was going to share with you, about there's resilient architecture for vulnerable populations, architecture as a proactive agent for transformation, architecture for peace and healing, and architecture for transformational communities, such as this one. But I really want to run through these so that we can spend more time focuses on really practicing what is it that we would do in a regenerative workshop for Yoko. So very briefly, okay, I'm going to run through these. This was a competition with the World Bank and the UN Habitat for Humanity, and it was about, designing resilient houses for the refugee crisis in the world, okay? So I'm very happy. Well, these were the 9 winners from like around 3,000 participants around the world. And I'm so glad that Kenton shared all the basics because I don't even have to this was a bamboo framed home and it was made with bajareke and everything is natural materials and it has the potential for expansion and, plant everybody being able to plant their own food and the community coming in and helping each other build the homes. Okay, all of this. But the most amazing thing about this project is that, I was living in the bubble of high design and architecture and going to all these, architecture conferences and finally, I started to go to these UN conferences and World Bank conferences, and I stumbled upon this army of individuals that really want to roll up their sleeves and help make the world a better place. And I was like, how can I just be sitting in that bubble of beauty? So it was really transformational, the whole process. And, I was in Geneva, in Washington, D.C., presenting the project, and a lot of talk and not a lot of action. I commend somebody like Kenton, who, who with his own resources have done more than the entire World Bank and the UN for this matter. Honestly, I mean, really. Okay. The next project, it was a school in Liberia. I ventured to go all the way to Liberia, Africa, with this coach and sort of leadership coach that does a lot of work in Liberia. And the idea was to use the school to transform the sort of limited mindset of this community that their livelihood was to just make this clay that then they chew with clay from the river. And anyways, it was just, again, it was the experience that helped transform me more than the project. I mean, the project turned out to be really beautiful. It involved the school as a catalyst, workshops, and then living quarters for teachers and a whole architectural grounds. And, this is part of the experience. This is what the project looks like. Again, it was all local materials, the bricks that were going to be made on site, the wood, the bamboo. And then just a small note, this is UNICEF's building in Monrovia. And then it's amazing how we Westerners, we think that we're so charitable to children in need. But when we put them in buildings like this, what is the message that we're giving them as opposed to building something simple, beautiful, like Kenton's, with Kenton's principles. We could build something so beautiful, teach them how to go back to relating to the land and giving them this dignity of beauty and design and being nourished by the earth. And anyways, and then this other project was a peace pavilion that I ventured to go to Vietnam and do for an NGO that removes mines from the earth. In this project, it was all about nature and how to weave in the 5 elements, the philosophy of the 5 elements into the project. It was meant to be a pavilion for peace to commemorate all the victims of mines in Vietnam and around the world. And it was a series of gardens, and each garden represents one of the elements. The first garden is like this earth mounds representing the earth element, then the water element that represents community, then the fire element, which was sort of the purpose, the purpose, and then the air element that represents the culture, the culture of agriculture of Vietnam. And anyway, I could talk about this for like a whole day about this project, but I really want to run through this so we get to the end. And then that's looking upwards from the Pavilion of Peace. And you went down this ramp all the way to the core inside, and there was going to be this like waterfall as you made your journey to below. Here's a section of it. This was a sculpture by an artist that just that symbolizes connection. You know, there's all these people in the sculpture, and when you look at it from above, it looks like a mandala. And that's looking up. And this is the ground level. And this was my trip to Vietnam, which was also life changing. So all of these things started me on this path to go from, you know, being of service to this incredibly privileged world to raising my consciousness about, you know, this world is not really working out too well. And I know that, you know, there's probably not much I can do, but I've met so many people that are trying to do. So I had this bug, like, you know, what can I do? And in 2020, right before COVID, I came to Costa Rica and I went to Envision Festival where I sat in front of one of the stages listening to all of these incredible ecological enthusiasts. And for the first time in my entire career, I felt the authenticity of the people that were walking the talk of sustainability and regeneration and permaculture, and not this big titles like lead, you know, like lead. One of my mentors at the Regeneration Institute, I'll tell you about, he says lead is like rearranging chairs in a sinking Titanic, you know, it's like, but, you know, I was like seeing all these big buildings with the big lead, you know, medallion on it. So it really touched me deeply, and I had, what am I doing in Miami? This is crazy. I gotta come to Costa Rica. This is a place that is leading in sustainability, in regeneration. So that took me a further path to awakening, I call it, which is the fact that I happened to be in my alumni council at the time. And together with two colleagues in the council, we couldn't meet anymore in person. And we wanted to take opportunity of the crisis to do a series of panels on how we could use design for impact, how we could use beauty to help raise consciousness in the world. And lo and behold, I met my who then became my mentors at the Regenesis Institute. I invited indigenous leader to be part of these talks, all of these talks. So my colleagues put me to the task of curating the talks on sustainability, and everything led to the regeneration. And so learning from all of these amazing speakers that I gathered for the panels had the biggest impact of it all, because you know, we awaken with our brain, okay? We awaken with our brain. And I think the problem in our world is that many of us are awakening, but we're awakening into systems that are not supporting our awakening. Somebody like Kenton has always been awakened, you know? But some of us, you know, I needed to have this bugs of sustainability, bugs of wanting to be of service. I call it like the feminine leadership bug, but also my body was in a lot of pain for many, many, many years until I truly realized that this, you know, superpower woman, architect, mother, everything within a system that does not really serve our essence is really detrimental to our health. So I went on this journey. I realized that I couldn't really be of service to anyone if I didn't start by regenerating myself. And so I've become a yoga instructor. I have healed my body, and I have become a regenerative practitioner. And I want to spend the last few minutes talking about what that means. These are all the regenerative communities that I visited, all the workshops that I did. And one thing that I would like to capitalize on this opportunity that we're here together is to do a workshop that is about regenerative, I'm fusing the project with regenerative thinking. And the beautiful thing about regeneration, like I said, is not that it's something that I'm going to teach you or I'm the expert in. It's something that we do together. I mean, I feel since I walked in here, the potential in this room of all of these extraordinary experts in so many fields, and we can dream up of the community that we want, but it's not the dream of one person, but it's the dream of all of us. So I thought that together we would do an exercise here very briefly, and we would start to share, all of us, what is the traditional development paradigm, which comes from all those world games that we have heard about from Daniel and from Kenton, the games of the GNP. Where are you, Daniel? Or the games of our fight or flight, or the games of the education system. I want to be a teacher. I can't possibly teach these awful things to children. So we have to become catalysts. I like to call myself sometimes a catalyst for new world games. And so we can together imagine what is the old traditional model of development and what we can envision here for Yoko. And it's already, with your wisdom, Idan, you've already made it regenerative in that you don't want it to be just you. You're a wonderful leader, but you want to bring this beautiful, whatever kaleidoscope of possibilities of the different expertises into the puzzle. So can we do that real quick if we have a moment? So anybody tells me what's in traditional development paradigm? Anybody? What?
Win-lose attitude.
Win-lose, exactly. Oh, where's my black pen? Okay, never mind. Win, lose. And what's that going to be changed with? Oh, win-win. Okay.
Win-win-win.
Win-win-win. All right. Anyone else? Anyone else? Please. Apartments. Okay, apartments. And co-living. Got it. Okay. Anyone else?
Generating specialists. Specializing, over-specializing.
Yes.
Being generalist.
Yes. Okay. So the specialist would be here and the generalist would be here. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Anyone else? What? Academia. And this would be intuition. Intuition. We all have these higher faculties. But guess what? Somewhere along the way, when we're little children, we start blockaging those faculties because what we want mostly is love. And when those faculties do not support the environment that we're in, we block those higher faculties. So this is an opportunity to go from everything we've learned to unlearn everything that we've learned so that we can actually tap into our higher faculties and our intuition and create from there. Who here, I'm curious, this is a really good one. Who here has felt that they were kind of not really told the whole truth about the world, and then you all of a sudden awaken and you realize that there's a different truth? Who here has gone through that? I just want to see okay, well, there's not that many of us, but sometimes I'm in circles where everybody feels that. And what I want to share with you is that when you have that understanding, then you start by realizing that the first thing you have to change is yourself, right? Like Rumi says, I used to be clever and think I could change the world. Now I am wise and I'm changing myself. So that's the only thing that we can really do to change our existing reality. But then once we realize that, then we realize we have to change our relationships, right? With the people closest to us. And then we also have to change the relationship to the places, to all the living beings that happen to be in the places where we're going to make an intervention. Anyone else? Okay. And? Thrival. Right. Tribal and tribal, right? Here's separation, separation and unity, interdependence. So usually with our regenerative workshop, we would the land like I did yesterday, but it would be different. We would engage in a conscious relationship with place. We would do what I call ancestral analysis of the site and a spiritual analysis of the site. So do you know how when you relate to other people as you evolve, in your journey, and you realize that all of a sudden I can connect with you energetically, right? I don't have to start talking about everything that's happened in my life and my culture and my identity, and then your culture. Oh yeah, we have so much in common, and then we connect, right? Sometimes we could just be with each other and feel connected. Well, guess what? It's the same with place. I know it's hard to believe that because it took me a while to really internalize that. But imagine if you can connect with place from a place of energy, from a place of letting that place tell us. Usually, it's the Cartesian, it's our minds that are kind of imposing everything on everyone else and on every walk of life that we happen to come across. But here it's about how do we let energy inform how we want to move forward in our lives, how we want to create spaces. And I invite you to imagine it possible that you can read the energy of places, that you instead of using our knowledge, right? Our academia and our knowledge and what I've learned in school. I went to really good schools and they taught me how to be an architect or whatever. Instead of that, I'm just gonna walk into a place and let it speak to me and tell me, I know how giving Mother Earth is, so I know if I walk into these places, I know that she will want for me to have the best shelter. She will want for me to have the best environment for educating our children. She will want for me to have the best possible food forest because that's what Mother Earth does. She just gives unconditioned, like mothers. That's why they call her a mother. So, anyways, there's so many more. I don't know if anybody wants to volunteer anymore. I have a couple of last slides to share. Yes, but I think I ran out of time, so it's up to you. Keep going. Okay. Well, I'll keep going. I don't know how because I think I'm out of time, but 10 more minutes. Okay, 10 more minutes. Wonderful. So let's keep going. Let's keep going with this traditional development paradigm. So what are we going to step into? We're going to step into energy, right? Energy reading. Like department stores versus farmers market. Good. Yes. Yes. This is more like identity, and I'm going to call it Cartesian. You know what that is? It's like the card. I think therefore I am. We have been lied to. We've been told that we are because of the virtue that we think. Absolutely not. We are because we are these extraordinary beings that are part of Mother Nature. Okay, we're not our thoughts. So department store. Sorry, department stores. I assure you, we're going to run out of time. Limited. I'm going to say the identity, Cartesian, egoic.
Forcing function instead of harmony.
I'm sorry?
Forcing functions versus harmony.
Yes. Absolutely. Versus harmony. Destroying instead of nourishing. Beautiful. It's so important. Like Kenton said before me, and I'm so happy you went first, Kenton, because you gave us all the tools that we need really to arrive at this. But what was it that you said? The last one? Destroying. Okay, you said parasites. Okay, the highest relationship in nature is that which is symbiotic. What is symbiotic? That two beings learn to nourish equally off of each other. That is the highest relationship in nature. What do we humans do to the earth? Where is our giving? Where is our giving? What, like, do we ever sit down and ponder, wow, thank you, mother, thank you. And we do that with mothers also, by the way. Just for the record, there's something about us women and mothers that can really identify with Mother Earth because that is. I mean, who is a mother here? Sorry, who's a mother here? How many mothers? Okay, so yeah, we just want to give it all because that is our nature. Anyways, anyone else? Here, I want to share. Um, okay, so this was the last, the four, which is designed for transformational communities. But I realized that I first had to go through this transformation myself, and I have to be honest that when I first did this Regenesis Institute, these are my mentors, the Regenesis Institute, the Regenerative Practitioner Workshop, and I was like really, like it's hard to grasp these concepts because we have been told our whole life something different. But once I started to practice them, they are so true. We have all these higher faculties to connect at an energetic level with each other, with nature, with place that nobody ever told us about, not even in the best institutions of higher learning. Believe me. So here are some of the frameworks. Anyways, does anybody have anything else to say? Because I'll end with the last two slides here. Please.
Waste management versus waste valorization.
Yes. We manage. Hiran, I think you're doing an amazing job. I'm so impressed with your leadership
Never mind.
and everything you've created at Yoko. I have learned from regenerative planners that those big round concrete things that we use for drainage, they're not really necessary. If you really tune in with the land and if you hear where the water wants to go, you'll create a reservoir, okay, that will serve your projects and you will save thousands and thousands of dollars in drainage pipes. Okay, I mean it's just possibilities. Okay, waste management versus what was it?
Waste valorization.
Yes, waste valorization. Yes. Okay, I want to say something that is there. It's focus on potential instead of goal, and that's what we can create together. Potential emerges from a collective field of possibilities, which then becomes self-sustaining. Goals is what I can formulate with my limited mind. Again, that mind that made you go to school and study this and sorry. Okay. Goals. Yes. Potential. Thank you. Thank you for the help. Okay. Anyone else?
Scarcity versus
Abundance. Yes. Yes.
Soil loss.
control versus trust.
Yes. Wow. I need another one of these. I'm so excited. But this is what a regenerative workshop is. Control versus trust. Yes. Yes.
Versus download.
I precisely. This is one of my gifts. In design, in design practice, you learn to surrender to the process. When you go into the project with some heroic vision, oh, I'm the architect. I know what it's going to be. It never turns out right. It's when you surrender to a process where you enter in dialogue with the people that you're trying to be of service and in dialogue with the context, with the site, that the best results emerge. So control, trust. What was the other one? I missed it. There was another one. You said it.
Familiar versus download.
Yes, thank you. Familiar versus unknown. Yes. Anyone else? Okay, so I mean, I invite you to keep thinking of this, and how we're going to collectively create this new paradigm that is going to be based on new world games that we're going to invent together that serve all of us, our planet, all the living beings around us. Um, and then I just wanted to share some of the frameworks. If I still have time, I wanted to share some of the frameworks that we use in regenerative thinking to create this self-sustaining field of possibilities. Okay, so the first one, I think I mentioned it in one of the talks. It's there's always an activating force. In this case, it's Viran, right? He's like this activating force. He's got grit. He's got vision. He's got perseverance, and then he has all the restraining, right? There's like the problems with the city and the you know the the financing, the permitting, the neighbors, you name it, right? It's not about one versus the other. It's about going upwards and finding reconciliation because all of those things are coming to challenge him because he's going into uncharted waters. Of course, he's going to find challenges. Then this is the triad, and these are the tetrads. And this tetrad, it's used in all fields, okay? And it starts with the ground, and it goes towards a goal. And then you have the instruments to bring you in the direction that you want to go. But in regenerative thinking, we use it. The ground is the place source potential. Look at all the potential in this room. Look what Iran has been able to accomplish in this time at Sangha, at Yoko North, at Yoko South, right? So that is the place source potential. And where we're going, we don't know. But that is the potential of regenerative capability. And the instruments is the co-evolving mutualism because we're here together, evolving together because we believe that this idea is better than everything else we've been sold before. So we want to engage together to create that which is new. And then that's how we're going to find the vocation of place. And for that, I welcome you to do another workshop, another time where we're going to do the 100 ideas possibilities, where we can imagine all the dreams that we can dream of, and then harness that energy and visualize them together so we can make it come true. And finally, I like to end with quotes because some other no, I forgot to tell you. I've been telling a lot of you about frequency. Frequency is this initiative that I am a part of. I'm very proud. I'm one of the, they've had 3 gatherings so far. I've been to the second and the third. And it's about a group of investors, entrepreneurs, artists, doers that have the same goal, the same goal that we have here, which is to reinvent the world and to co-create a conscious regenerative future for humanity. Is an ecosystem where extraordinary stewards envision, fund, and implement the world we want to leave to our children. And I'm very proud of this initiative that I'm part of. And it works at 3 levels. It's at the self, the community, and the collective. So how many of us know that exactly the quote that I said from Rumi before? If I want any change in the world, where do I start? So frequency is really curating to programming that helps us as humans raise our consciousness. When I was doing all those beautiful, 20,000 square foot houses in Florida, it's not that I was a bad person. It's just that that's what fell in my lap, and I was always trying to do the right thing to whatever fell in my lap, right? But it wasn't until I raised my consciousness that I realized I want to be of service to this. It's not so much about the why of what we do, but It's not so much about what we do, but the why of what we do. Okay, sorry, that was in my last slide. It's not so much about the why of what we do, but the it's not about the why, it's about the why. And then we have to focus on that inner architecture and how we show up, right? So why do we want to be of service to? So, anyways, frequency starts with self, and then it goes to community by creating these connections that accelerate, experience an incredible network of stewards and change agents that can become stakeholders in your vision and project. So it might be a good place, Iran, for you to bring your project, you know. The spirit of generosity leads to introductions, funding, advisory, and deep support for the long haul. And then the steward of global ecosystems, so that the purpose is that we're standing on the shoulders of giants. There are countless initiatives bending the curve across the planet, yours being one of them, and frequencies connecting the dots between them. So if anybody's interested in learning more about frequency, please come to me. I'll be able to tell you for your projects, for your vision. And finally, the quotes, you never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. That Buckminster Fuller, the big fan of his vision. Those who are inspired by a model other than nature labor in vain. That's Leonardo da Vinci. And then this one is a beautiful one also, Khalil Gibran. I slept and I dreamt that life is all joy. I woke and I saw that life is all service. I served and I saw that service is joy. And finally, Robin Balkimmer, I don't know if you know who she is. She's a botanist who is from the First Nations, and she wrote this book, Braiding Sweetgrass, and I strongly recommend it because all of these things that we're talking about here in regenerative philosophy, they're not new, okay? They belong to indigenous and ancestral cultures for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And we instead were told to look down on these people, or we, colonialism tried to destroy these people, to destroy these cultures that truly lived in harmony with nature for thousands of years. So the beautiful thing about Robin Balkimmer is that she speaks some very difficult truths, but she does it with poetry. And that ties back to why apply regenerative thinking to design, because there's so much more that we can achieve with beauty than by forcing it on people's throats. With beauty, with poetry, with art. That is the purpose of art. It is to elevate our consciousness through things that are beautiful, easy for the human mind to connect to, and not force or pure dogma or logical thinking. And I'm going to read it, and that will end our talk. To our people, the land was everything: identity, the connection to our ancestors, the home of our non-human kinsfolk, our pharmacy, our library, the source of all that sustained us. Our lands, where our responsibility to the world was enacted, sacred ground. It belonged to itself. It was not a commodity. It was a gift. Thank you so much.